This happened 3 years ago while my previous relationship was ending. For the record, I was 27 years old at the time. My ex-boyfriend and I weren't living together anymore. We were separated for a few months, but not quite broken up yet. I had just found out from his twin brother that he was keeping me as a backup while having fun with other girls, so I decided to end things. It was my birthday. I was a bit emotional about this whole situation, so I decided to go to his place and end it properly, face to face. I took an Uber and went out to the other side of town, very far away from where I lived, and it's not known for being a safe or friendly area for girls. Anyway, I got there, we talked, and we ended things on good terms, thankfully. Now it was time to call an Uber to go back home. This was happening in November on a rainy night at about 2 a.m. My ride came, I got in, and I was just looking out the window and thinking. After 5 minutes or so, I noticed that my Uber driver was looking at me in the rearview mirror. I brushed it off. This wasn't the first time when it happened, and I was too sad to care. But then I noticed that he slowed down a lot. This was when I started to pay attention to my surroundings, but without giving him the sensation that I was doing so. I noticed that he was a thin and tall guy, around 30 years old. He looked like he wasn't taking very good care of himself, and his car was actually pretty dirty. I was just hoping to get home safe and fast at this point. Then, out of nowhere, he started talking. "You are very beautiful." "Thanks. So what's your name?" After a long pause, I whispered my name. I realized that he could see it in the Uber app anyway. What a sexy name. I've always wanted to have sex with a girl named Sasha. He started talking and rambling without pause, but expecting clear responses and reactions from me. "So do you have a boyfriend?" "Yes." "What a shame. I wanted you for myself." "But I don't mind the boyfriend. Let's go somewhere else. Change the address in the app because I can't, only you can. I know a place where we can go to be alone and smoke some weed." "No, I can't. Take me to the address from the app." At this point, I started to pay close attention to the route he was taking. I was so ready to jump out of the car if the situation had got really dangerous. Then he puts on a local rap song which I never heard before. The lyrics were very explicit, describing what the singer does to a girl during sex. Extremely explicit lyrics. Hear that? That's how having sex with me would be like. "Oh yes, I would totally lick you like that and pull your hair until you can't even scream anymore. You will love it and come back begging for more." At this point, I started messaging my ex and telling him what was happening. It was also a good excuse to not have to look at him or reply. "So, what do you think about that?" I asked, "What do you think about that?" My heart dropped. I froze. "Well, I haven't heard this song before." "Do you smoke weed?" "No." "Smoke a joint with me?" "No, thank you." "Are you home alone?" I could call it a night and go to your place and show you what I'm talking about. My heart was racing so bad at this point. I was so scared and shaking hard. I was home alone, actually living alone. I decided to start recording him from here on and send the recording to my ex. I told him my parents are waiting for me. Oh, that sucks, man. But we can stay in the car. I'll join you on the back seat. We'll find a spot where it's dark. No, I need to go home. I'm tired. Come on. I'll make you come 3 times in 10 minutes. Trust me. Where did I put that weed again? And he started searching for it. My ex listened to this part and called me. I was so relieved when I saw my phone ringing. I answered and I made sure that the driver would hear that I'm on the phone with someone. He kept on talking, but I didn't hear much because he seemed to be upset about my phone call, and he was mostly talking to himself. My ex was furious, but he told me to say things out loud like where I am, when I get home, and other stuff. Like my mom texted me and is waiting for me. To say that I will call him when I get home, etc. I ended the phone call and the driver asked me if that was my boyfriend. I said yes, it was. He kept silent for about 5 minutes and I was so anxious to get home. We had like 5 more minutes before getting to my address. When he saw on the map that we were getting close, he started asking me again to go somewhere or stay in the car with him, to smoke with him, to tell him everything about me and my life, that he thinks he fell in love, to break up with my boyfriend. His speech was getting scarier, and he was getting more and more anxious that he couldn't convince me. He was turning to look at me, stopping at green stops so he could turn to me. After what seemed like forever, and after shaking like a leaf, when we got to the front of my building, I practically jumped out of the car while he was like, No, don't go. Where's your apartment? Let me come with you. I ran and entered the building. I didn't turn on the light on the staircase because I didn't want him to see where in the block I lived. I stood there in darkness and peeked out the window to see if he was gone. He wasn't. He was looking at the block, probably waiting to see where exactly the lights would turn on. I waited like 5 minutes and he slowly left. I quickly entered my apartment and locked everything, but I did not turn on or off any lights, so it wouldn't seem like someone got home or something. I went to peek out the window to be sure that he indeed left, but surprise, he was back and parked this time. I was scared out of my mind. I know that many would say that I should have called the police, but in my country the police does not come for stuff like this. They barely show up in an hour if someone is being beaten or something. So he was just there, just sitting. I then get a message from an unknown number telling me to come back down because he's waiting for me. I froze and started crying at this point. It was like my life could completely change because of a 30-minute ride with an unstable person. I didn't reply. He sent a few more messages, and I remember that one in particular really creeped me out. He was asking me to at least smoke a cigarette with him on the phone so he could hear me breathing and smoking. I texted back saying to leave me alone. That's when he started calling and I blocked the number. I was afraid that he could get so angry and try to get into the building and find me. I was looking out the window from behind the curtain, and I saw that after I blocked him, when he tried to call and couldn't, he started smashing his phone against the steering wheel. He finally left after 40 minutes or so of staying there. I still kept watch for another 2 hours or so, and thank goodness he didn't return. The next day, he messaged and called from another number, but I blocked that one as well. He tried once more 1 year later. I was so surprised, honestly. I blocked that number too and never heard from him again. I'm also glad that I never saw him or his car again either. I reported everything to the Uber app and I hope that they took measures. Honestly, I don't understand why nobody before me reported him. It didn't feel like it was the first time he did this. It was somehow so easy for him. One of the worst experiences of my life.